Immune systems are quite the hot topic these days, with the attention from a few global events and all. However, with this recent popularity, I haven't seen a single report on one of the key components that lies at the core of overall immune function, being so critical that if it starts to become dysfunctional, so too does the entire immune response. Whoa is right. I wonder what it could be. Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run LiftandBalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and longevity and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic way. Today, we are once again geeking out on one of our favorite topics. No, not mask efficacy. Our mitochondria, and how these energy-producing organelles may be at the very core of how well our body defends itself from nefarious cellular actors from both the external world and our internal world. So much so that if we are not healthy and efficient at the mitochondria level, we simply cannot be healthy and efficient defending our body. And to make sure this point sticks, we will be breaking down 4 ways our mitochondria influence our immune system, the reasons why you can't have a good immune system without healthy and functional mitochondria, and as always, ways to rebuild your mitochondria function from the ground up. Yeah, it's possible, and quite possibly life-changing in more ways than we can imagine. But before we get to all that, there are a few key things you need to know about these cellular powerhouses. So we'll begin with a little background. Mitochondria are the key energy-producing organelles which reside in almost all of our bodily cells, typically from the hundreds to thousands based on the specific cell type's energy needs. Now, moving past what we're all taught in 7th grade biology, these cellular powerhouses are not only important because they synthesize the energy currency we use, adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, which is the mandatory energy substrate for all things cellular life, but also because they act as key signaling hubs, sending out information in the form of several different substrates like reactive oxygen species, to tell the cell and the rest of the body what needs to be done. And it's these functions right here which put them at the center of complex cellular life as we know it. A topic that we actually dive into here if you want the full evolutionary story. This breakdown, along with other videos walking through Mitochondria 101 level basics, will be linked in the show notes below if you want to keep nerding out. Now, this brings us to their relationship with the immune system. And I'll let you know right off the bat, it's complex, meaning there are many different direct and indirect interactions between the two, with the reality being we're still likely at the tip of the iceberg with present-day knowledge. But let's explore what we do know. Or at least, what we think we know. Always got to put that caveat. The most direct relationship that has been displayed between these two entities is the fact that immune cells have and need mitochondria to, do their immuning and stuff. This is a direct interaction between the two, and we'll touch on why that's important in just a minute. But before we get there, let's explore a newer and more recently emerging indirect relationship between the two, the signaling relationship, and the sneaky way that mitochondria from non-immune cells rally our innate defense systems. There is an increasing amount of evidence that mitochondrial stress is a major initiator of the innate immune response. And here's how it's currently believed to go down. When a mitochondria's integrity is disrupted and dysfunction occurs, a common byproduct of chronically poor lifestyle habits, material from the mitochondria gets released into the cell. These substances include reactive oxygen species, mitochondrial DNA, and double-stranded RNA, which are often classified as damage-associated molecular patterns, or DAMPs, getting their name from being able to bind to innate immune sensors and trigger an inflammatory response. This factor places mitochondria health as a main indirect modulator of the immune system, and an upstream regulator of longevity liability numero uno, chronic inflammation. which we know is not cool for any vitality ambitions over time. With that background, let's venture forward to those 4 key ways that mitochondria conduct the immune system like a 17th century maestro. You know, because 17th century maestros were just built different. Anyway, first, there is the aforementioned direct effect on energy. Impaired mitochondria function leads to reduced production of ATP. This ultimately drives fatigue and weakness in immune cells, and straight up impairs their ability to fight off infections. Next, there is increased production of reactive oxygen species. These are unstable molecules that, when in abundance, induce damage within the cell and the surrounding tissue, including immune cells. These are leaked from weak, dysfunctional mitochondria and begin to cause a problem when their secretion is chronically higher than our body's innate antioxidant defenses, ultimately impairing immune cells' ability to fight off infection and nefariously feeding the chronic inflammation fire. Then we have the aforementioned release of damage-associated molecular patterns, or DAMPs. And when chronic, they trigger a constant inflammatory response which damage, exhaust, and weaken the different components of the immune system. And lastly, we have impaired immune system communication. This happens as a byproduct of all the dysfunction we just reviewed, making the immune system less efficient at passing along relevant information and signatures to their comrades on the front lines, and making it increasingly challenging for immune cells to coordinate and fight infection. As you can tell, all of these factors build on each other and contribute to a weakened, less efficient immune system. Thus, making the case that if there is chronic mitochondrial dysfunction, there is chronic immune dysfunction. Another day, another reason why mitochondria may very well be the secret to vitality and longevity. Thus, why we love geeking out on them. With that, let's discuss some ways where we can intentionally and methodically boost our immune function through mitochondria manipulation. And good news is, we come fully equipped with all the tools we need to do it, as we are a self-healing, constantly renewing masterpiece of biological wonder. And just so you don't get too high on your horse, so is a cricket. Yeah, pretty amazing. But before we get to what we should do, let's talk about what we shouldn't do, as there are a few factors which play against both our mitochondria health and our immune function as we age. And here's why. As chronological time on this beautiful floating rock accrues, and more importantly, environmental stressors from life and lifestyle accrue, our cellular cities lose efficiency. Their mitochondria energy stations become unstable and leaky. And as we saw today, so does the system that's responsible for law and order, the immune system. The most common and prevalent of these stressors come from lifestyle, including the 24/7 all-waking day ultra-processed eating, extreme sedentary behavior, severe nature deficit, chronically deprived sleep, and toxins from everyday items we interact with. So the question becomes, how do we keep our cellular cities operating more efficiently for longer? And turns out, despite all our modern pharmaceutical and technological advancements, the most powerful things that we can do to promote the health and function of our cellular machinery comes from plain old, boring lifestyle habits, facilitated through our daily routines and rituals. So what exactly are these habits we speak of, and how do they move the cellular needle? Well, although you need all of them and there is no silver bullet, the top intervention may very well be consistent exercise. Because as we've discussed ad nauseum across dozens of videos on this channel, the effects of consistent badonkadonking may be as close as we're ever gonna come to finding the fountain of youth. Because with it, you induce a tremendous amount of biochemical and cellular changes, boosting existing mitochondria function, recycling weak and leaky mitochondria via a process called mitophagy, and promoting the creation of new healthy ones via mitochondrial biogenesis. This, in turn, increases the capacity of the strong non-leaky mitochondria and thus minimizes overall free radical leak, Oh, and all while reducing inflammation by eliciting a powerful anti-inflammatory response. 120 minutes a week, working 60 to 80% of your max heart rate is a great goal to strive for. And wouldn't you know it, what you eat matters too. Real whole foods filled with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, polyphenols, healthy fats, fiber, and protein fuel, lubricate, and repair this cellular machinery in ways no prescription can compare to. It provides all the building blocks for the proteins, peptides, enzymes, and neurotransmitters we need, promoting the growth and maintenance of healthy cells with healthy, strong, efficient mitochondria, while decreasing the damage and leak of DAMPs along the way. These foods also reduce inflammation both directly through antioxidant promoting pathways and indirectly through modulating things such as the microbiome and inflammatory visceral fat. So keep all this in mind next time you're choosing a snack. And as we know, with eating comes, strategically, not eating, as practices such as daily time-restricted feeding and intermittent fasting have been shown to upregulate beneficial rest, rejuvenation, and repair pathways. But you already know that because we have been talking about it for years all throughout the Fasting 101 playlist. It ramps up cellular and mitochondrial cleanup pathways such as autophagy and mitophagy, ridding any dysfunction before it proliferates. It re-energizes stem cells, which are non-specific cells that differentiate into different tissue based on what the body needs. It increases the production of healthy immune cells upon refeed, reduces inflammation levels while increasing mitochondria plasticity and integrity. Damn is right. Who knew strategic meal timing had so much biological pull? And speaking of integrity, all of our cellular and metabolic integrity goes out the window when we are chronically sleep deprived, as chronic sleep deprivation has been shown to alter the mitochondria's bioenergetic capacity, decreasing respiration efficiency, aka ATP production, and increasing the expression of genes involved in oxidative stress, aka making mitochondria more leaky. Combining that with the fact that it is a critical time for both detoxification and immune strengthening, anything other than good circadian aligned sleep with an 8-hour sleep opportunity increases the risk for bad cellular outcomes. Other key modulators that are important to keep your eyes and ears on include managing stress, as low-dose chronic stress is right up there with chronic inflammation in its nefarious effects, limiting exposure to pollutants and toxins in your everyday life, spending more time out and about in nature and grounding, or reconnecting electrically with the earth via some direct contact, like walking barefoot, incorporating good stressors such as heat and cold exposure, and even breathing right. Here's a hint. Use this thing. Think of all of these lifestyle interventions as a way to actively repair, maintain, and upgrade your cellular machinery, including the trillions of mitochondria currently facilitating your life at this very second. Yes, trillions. That would mean you should be maintaining about, carry the 2, divide by pi, 27 million or so a day if you plan on living to 100. No need to check my math. Actually, it's probably more, because that's only tuning each one up once for the entirety of your life. But hey, why stress out about unattainable numbers when you can just do it all without even realizing you're doing it? That's where your daily routines, habits, and rituals come into play. So start owning it, because when your trillions of mitochondria are happy, more often than not, you're happy too. It's science.